Good afternoon. My name's Andrew from Pit Pirates, and today, this afternoon, we're going to be cooking some delicious oxtail from Maleny Black Angus beef. Grass-fed beef, completely different taste. You'll notice these have been trimmed down, the butcher's trimmed them down. Doesn't matter if there's a bigger fat covering on the surface. It's an old-fashioned cut, but it's really good for those cold evenings. And just on cue, the last few nights we've been getting down towards single-digit temperatures here. So this is going to make a fantastic evening meal. And we're going to use a basic, what I would call casserole vegetables. We're going to use onions, diced to approximately 3/4 of a centimetre. You can go as big or small as you want to. Nice big chunks of carrot. I'll explain about those in a moment. And I've done potatoes, but just to explain potatoes, this one has been peeled and diced. This one I've left the skin on because it's a washed potato, and there's lots of minerals and fibre in the skin, so it's actually healthy. Now the plan is that we're going to cook this today in a pressure cooker, which will obviously shorten the cooking time, but we can cook it in a saucepan with a lid on. It'll take longer, and the plan is that this potato will break down and be falling apart. That's the way we prefer it. If you like firmer potatoes, leave the potatoes out, cook them on their own. You can put these in. When we go into the pressure cooker, I'll explain some of the options available to you. Carrots won't break up, but they will go super soft and delicious. So any root vegetables, swede, parsnip, turnips, sweet potatoes work, but they will break down. So there's lots of options available to us. So because this is quite lean oxtail, we're going to start off just with a little bit of coconut oil. We don't use olive oil in this because it's got quite a flavour. So just a little bit, just to put some moisture on the bottom of the pan, stop the onions sticking. And we're going to get some heat into the pan. We're going to turn it up, and we want the pan to be really quite hot. So I'll just close that, and it shouldn't take too long. Okay, so oxtail, it's in constant use by the cow, swishing flies away, etc. It's full of tendons, and obviously we've got this disc here. You can see it's quite soft to push, but you couldn't eat it. It's very, very chewy, and that's all made from collagen. And we're going to cook this now for approximately an hour and 20 minutes, perhaps, in the pressure cooker. The process, just while we're getting some heat into this, it's almost ready. We're going to cook the onions first a little bit, just to soften them. Then we're going to add the oxtail and put some colour, hopefully, on the oxtail. Mix that round, a little bit of salt and pepper, and then we're going to add all our vegetables all at the same time. Now the options with the vegetables, because the carrots can be cut smaller, is that you cook the onions and the oxtail together first, and then break the seal and open the pressure cooker about halfway through, and then put your vegetables in. That then will give you a different texture on the vegetables. It just depends what you like. We like a soft, juicy, succulent stew where everything is falling apart. If you want it a little bit firmer, then you do have options available. Again, you can do the whole process in a pan. You can do the whole process in a cast iron Le Creuset or a casserole pot in the oven. It will just take longer than obviously a pressure cooker. Now, there's enough heat here. We're going to put the onions in. We could add herbs, fresh or dry. We could add garlic, whole cloves or crushed. There's lots of options in flavour, but today I'm just using salt, pepper, and the fantastic flavour of the beef to generate the flavours. And we can make a bone stock from Black Angus bones, which are available from Martin Sue. But we're going to use just a little bit of stock concentrate today. I haven't had a chance to make beef stock, although it will be the subject of a different recipe. So we're just going to get these softening in the pan. I'll just tip that up so you can see that they're already going soft. If we don't soften onions first, then they've got a strange texture. They won't go soft and break down in the sauce. So we've got to make sure that we cook them out a little bit before we put the beef in. I'm going to put the beef in now. We're starting to get a little bit of very faint brown. That's okay because it's a casserole, but we don't want it to burn, so I'm just going to put the oxtail. Now we don't prepare it in any way, we just throw it straight into the pan. No need to coat it with flour or do anything exotic with it. And we're just going to then stir that around in the pan. So we're just developing obviously colour and flavour. And while that's happening, I'll just put a little bit of salt and pepper. Now because we're using the stock concentrate, we don't want too much salt, so I'm just going to put a 2 twists in there, and obviously I'm going to put some pepper. Now salt, we use pink Murray River rock salt. It's healthier for us, no bleaches, no caking agents. And a little bit of pepper. Again, if you like other spices, we can put paprika, make a more red sauce. We can also put in some chili if you like chili, although it's not traditional. So again, any flavours, herbs, spices you've got in the kitchen, they're all valid options for us. Now you'll see already we're developing colour on the outside of the oxtail. It will colour up very nicely. We're just going to leave it for a little bit longer. As you'll see, I've just put in the potatoes and the carrots, and you'll see that we're getting some nice colour on the onions and the oxtail. And we're just going to stir this in. Now that's a basic casserole mix. Obviously onions, carrots and potatoes. We could put leeks. Another thing we can put in, some people I've seen, they put lentils. We can make a nice thick sauce with lentils, pearl barley. We can use chickpeas. We can add chickpeas or any type of beans. Obviously haricot beans, I think garbanzo beans are another one. That's a little bit more exotic, but we can put any beans and pulses and different things. Now just in a moment, when we've mixed all of that nice vegetable in with the meat, we're going to sit it down flat in the saucepan, and we're going to add a basic recipe of 2 litres of water per kilo. Now this was just under a kilo, so in here we've got about 1.5 kilos of water, so we're going to add that, then we're going to add the stock concentrate. Now obviously you hear the sizzle, that's all good, and that will free all of that nice brown residue from the bottom of the pan. So you'll see it's adequately covered all of the vegetables and the meat, and that's going to help us make a nice soft stew. Now instead of water, we can use beer. Beer is very good if you like beer. Guinness, I'm not a fan of cooking beef with Guinness, but some people are, and Guinness is a flavour of its own. We can also use red wine, white wine, whatever wine you want to, but obviously with beef traditionally it's red wine. So we're just using water with some stock concentrate today, and as a professional chef I have absolutely no problems in using good quality beef stock concentrate. You'll see this is like jelly, and that shows it's been reduced down to concentrate all those flavours. So we're going to put 2 in here because it's quite a lot of liquid. Now I did put 3 medium-sized potatoes in there, and you'll find that when they break down they will absorb quite a lot of this water, even though it's trapped inside a pressure cooker. So I'm just going to stir this in until the beef stock breaks down and melts, and then we're going to bring it up to the boil. So we're on full blast right now, and we're just going to clamp on the pressure cooker lid as soon as it's ready, and we're going to leave that for approximately 40 minutes, possibly 45, because some of those pieces were quite big. And then we're going to break the seal and have a look at what we've got left. Okay, for those people that don't know the way pressure cooker works, when a pot is under pressure, the water effectively boils at a much higher temperature. That means it gets into the meat much quicker and cooks through the food in the pot at a much faster rate, because the water is boiling at a higher temperature. That's how a pressure cooker works. Altitude does the same thing. At the top of Mount Everest you can only drink coffee because water boils at 71 degrees. So this is the same process, but in reverse. Instead of decreasing as we go up, this is increasing because we put a lid on it and we've locked the top. Okay, so we've just taken the lid off, and you can see now we've got much less liquid than we had to start with, and that's because some's come out of steam obviously, and the rest has been absorbed by the meat and the vegetables. We're just going to stir this stir this up, and you'll see, especially from this one, the potato starts breaking down, and that's going to make it really, really rich and good to eat. And so now I'll just stir that round a couple of times. Carrots obviously won't break down. We've got to be a bit careful because this meat is just falling off the bone. So I'm just going to put that now onto the plate, and you can see the colour that we've achieved. And in a minute I'll just get a knife from the chopping board, and I'll just show you how soft the meat is on the bones. And remember, this was all trimmed down, so there wasn't a great deal of fat on the outside, but the meat was very, very tough, obviously full of sinews and different things. So I'm just going to put out 2 portions of this. I think that's probably going to be enough. Make sure all the meat's out. And then just with this cook's knife here, I just want to show you, this is obviously a bone, and you can see very, very light pressure. The meat's just going to fall off. You see just there, and that's exactly the texture we're looking at. Super delicious. It's an underrated cut of meat. Some people say it's old-fashioned, but as I say, you can spice it up. You can add things that you want: red wine, beer, all those good flavours. Garlic. We didn't put any garlic in this, but you could put garlic in it. It's just a fantastic, rich, gelatinous flavour. It's not overly greasy, and that's going to be delicious.